Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
Good morning to you. It is now time for Coffee Ann on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here. Dave Richards is right over there.
I am.
Hello
What do
there.
you know?
Good morning to you there, Dave.
Hi, Joe. It's nice to see you once again.
Nice to have you here as well. Melissa Murray has joined us at the Coffee Ann table. Hi, Melissa.
Good morning.
There she is.
Nice
Look
to
at
have
that.
Melissa here as well. So comments and questions, like the man said, call them in 766-1240. We're going to start off today. We don't normally mention...
Oh, it's got to be
Other-
sports for 20 minutes, Joe.
Oh,
we know
okay.
this is going to
great.
happen on
Oh,
Monday.
sports
for 20 minutes.
There we go.
And everybody's saying, get on with it, Joe.
No, it's not sports related.
Okay.
Although, how about those Red Sox? Anyway, but we normally don't mention other radio stations on the air here.
Yeah, we
do
probably
on
shouldn't,
occasion.
even now.
But I'm making an exception right now.
Oh.
And congratulations to Giovanni down at Pro FM, who wraps up a 50-year career at Pro FM.
What a piker.
So, but it puts him in Salty Brine era time of 50
yeah.
years.
Oh, yeah.
So that's,
Oh, yeah. We
that's
all were.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
So-
we
so-
all were.
So there you go.
Technically speaking, you were in Salty Brine era.
But not.
I was
50
in his
years.
heyday.
But
I
I'm-
sat on his knee in Galilee.
Well,
during blessing of the fleet. Me and my sister
was that his wooden
had
leg?
his, well, he had his trousers on, Joe, so I wasn't
Couldn't
aware
tell. All
one
right.
way or the other. Actually, I'm saying, okay, I think maybe so. I think so, yeah, because I was on his right leg, and if I recall, it was his right leg that he lost.
But anyway, Giovanni is his last days today.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't that nice?
and well, good for him. And
And
I
everybody
read
just calls him Gio now.
it's
That's it.
Gio.
Who?
That's right. And that isn't even
that's
his
a
name.
small foreign car, isn't it? A Gio?
Yeah.
I don't even think they make those anymore. Geo Metro.
I did read a couple of articles on it, and they said, well, what are you going to do now? He's like, I don't know. I've never been retired before.
Yeah.
Give me a chance to be retired, then I'll figure out what I'm going to do. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, he could always come in after Bruce Palmer, another guy who used to be on the big ones. Come in and have some fun.
There you go, Dave. Yeah, reach out to him.
Yeah.
See what he
That's
wants to
right.
do.
Come in and you can back cleanup for Bruce Palmer.
There you go.
Don't think that's a compliment really for a guy of yeah. So Giovanni, he's been around for a while.
50 years. Yeah.
I remember when he first started.
So does he.
Shows you how it shows you how old I am. But he was one of the young punks when I was already established in this business.
Now he's
But,
one of the old punks.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, congratulations to him on his retirement.
That's nice.
All right. The other thing I wanted to bring
stay
up
with that,
No,
to stay with an operation like that for that many years is remarkable.
That's
and
impressive,
anybody's
so-
yardstick.
So the next thing I want to bring up is something of it's switching gears. It's more serious, and I don't know if Melissa's going to have an answer for this, but Dave might. And growing up and going to school in the early 1970s, we were always taught that Israelites, they were the good guys, and the Palestinians with Yasser Arafat, those were the terrorists, and those were the bad guys. And I don't know, when did things change according to college students?
When
All of a sudden, the Palestinians
when
are
the
the good
United
guys.
States got woke up,
Okay.
that's when things changed. The revisionist history largely started with the generation that just questioned every reality and made up their own when they didn't like the answer.
All right.
How'd I do?
Do you agree with that, Melissa?
Terrible.
Terrible?
There
I
you
hate
go.
the word woke. I really do.
Well, I'm sorry, Denise. I mean,
Denise.
right. What
Wow.
am I saying?
You must be really
So-
mad.
Freudian slip there.
I'm sorry, Melissa, but they gave it to themselves.
No,
yes,
wait,
they
no.
did.
So growing up, I remember being taught, and maybe I just had an exceptional teacher.
And by the way, can I stop you for just a second and correct something that Joe said, just so that it'll be in sequence?
Sure.
What did
All
I
right.
say incorrect?
What Joe and I experienced in school and in society with the Israelites being the good guys and the Palestinians being the bad guys was terribly skewed from a standpoint of reality of our grandparents' generation. But where we were at that time, it was pretty much contemporary. Let me explain. The Jews had had a very, very rough time of it in the Second World War. And the entire world was aghast at what the treatment that they got by the Nazi government that was having its way with Europe. All right. And so an enormous outpouring of sympathy for Jews, whether they were involved in it or not, was evident in society. So you had that emotion there. And then you had the Palestinians who were just sitting around not doing nothing. And Great Britain, the United States, and several other countries got together and said, well, we've got to give the Jews their homeland.
Back, yeah.
This is where they were thousands of years ago. That's what we're giving them. And we're saying that, but the Palestinians were already there. And they say, well, now you've got to get along with the Palestinians, but, you know, that's your homeland, and, you know, we got your back on this. So the Israelis came in, and, of course, they had not always gotten along with any of the Arab tribes. And the Palestinians, one of the larger Arab tribes, took great umbrage to the fact that other countries were going to say, give up where you live and let the, because they just had a bad time of it.
Sure.
And they were forced into this. Among them, Mr. Arafat and several that thought like him decided to get militant about it. That's where it started.
Right.
And that's
Okay.
exactly what's
And
happening
several
now.
of the other Arab tribes couldn't disagree with them because they thought now you're trying to replace one wrong with another wrong. The Arabs weren't bussing Jews off to concentration camps, but they're getting the short end of the stick. Our brother Arabs are getting shafted out of their homeland. And so there was a lot of that going on. Now, as time has gone along, most of the Arab tribes have gotten over it, except for the Palestinians that lost their home.
Understandably.
You got this? Okay, great. But those that maintain a hostile environment and want to take back their homeland by force are now seen as the aggressors, and indeed they were in October of last year, the aggressors of going out and killing Israelis to try to get them to leave, which I believe is short-sighted on behalf of the Palestinians because you're not going to get them to leave by going and killing them. It's just not going to happen. All right, now getting back to all of that, so people understand where it was when Joe and I came on the scene.
Joe's only 5 years older than me, by the way.
Let's talk to Melissa now and see what she says. 'Cause she
So
says
that's what- so we're-
revisionist history did not start with the woke generation. I just proved your point.
There was no woke generation, but
I just proved your point. Because when
So
we were
every-
growing up, they had revised everything so that the Palestinians that disagreed with losing their homeland were now wrong.
correct. And Hamas is not Palestine
Right.
any more than the KKK is United States. Like there's extremist bad folks everywhere.
Right.
And I think the point of the college students is that what they are protesting is not they're not saying they're pro Hamas. What they're protesting is the massive killing of innocent lives in Palestine, including lots of children, and now they're finding mass graves with people's hands zip tied behind their back, and you know that's what they're protesting. They're not, and they're not anti-Semitic, in my opinion, for doing so. What they're protesting is the violence, not the people in general. That's my take on it.
All right. Then why did that rabbi in New York say that Jewish students are unsafe on Columbia University?
Because they probably are. Like,
Yeah.
there's both
Yeah.
sides.
Because of the outside agitators that are fostering violence.
And let's not forget
in the discussion.
the 3 Palestinian students who were shot and killed just right after around Thanksgiving. Right, they're not safe either. No one is safe from
That's why they
violence,
call it
unfortunately.
war, my dear.
Yeah, no one is safe from violence in this country or any other country, unfortunately. It's some places are much worse than others, but
Okay.
it's the killing of civilians that I believe they are against, and I'm against that too. You know, I mean, I know that there's casualty in war. My 3 brothers have served in the military, and they've seen things that I could not possibly imagine. But you know, you don't bomb every hospital. You don't bomb neonatal units and maternity hospitals just because you're in a war. Like, it's just some things that you don't do, and it's wrong.
Okay. In
My opinion only.
It's sad to see that a lot of college campuses or a lot of colleges are canceling their commencement exercises, which are coming up.
We've
in a
seen
couple
this
weeks.
before too, where college kids have protested on college campuses, and there's been a big, you know.
Yeah.
We've seen this
It's
all
the
before.
time
This
of
is
year.
not new. This
Don't-
is not new. It's
Don't you
not-
remember, Joe? April is the month of discontent, of large-scale wrongs being perpetrated on innocent people. April is the month that human beings do it in this hemisphere. It's just in
Who
school.
organized that?
It's just Columbine massacre. All of these. Just go back. You'll
All
see
right.
April. It just happens. And this is 2024's thing.
One could argue that all of the hippies were woke.
Well, one could, but we never called ourselves woke.
Well, right, because it's not a
We sat
it's not a
back
real
confident-
thing.
We sat back confidently and did not perpetrate violence on society, and let everybody, hate us, and just did our thing.
But you don't think you were hated, like by the older folks?
Oh,
they were like,
that's-
"Oh, those darn."
Hate is their problem. We didn't hate
right,
them.
right.
We're only responsible for what we did
Well,
and chose to do.
that's true for every human
If
being.
someone chooses to hate us, that's
Yeah.
on their conscience.
Yeah, you're responsible for what you put out into the universe.
Right.
So.
We tried not to give them any reason to hate us, but we did say we think we have a better way. We failed to say we may be mistaken, and indeed, of course, we were mistaken, that because universal love and peace is not the answer, because it's not reality for anybody, but it is a great goal.
Youth
That's
is,
where the hippies got it wrong. It
You-
was a goal, not a reality.
youth is wasted on the young.
Oh, there you go.
Well, you're right, and if Dave I know Dave's seen it. I don't know if you've seen the movie, the Woodstock movie.
Oh, gosh.
Shows, well, there's media
Oh, gosh, yeah.
that and they went out to the neighbors.
Yeah.
And they asked the guy, he had to be 60 or so in his time.
Of course.
And so what do you think about this? In plain English, yes, it's a blank mess.
Yeah,
In
and it
common
was.
English, this is what it is. And so he was not happy with
right,
what was going
right,
on in his
right.
backyard,
But-
basically.
History repeats.
Right, but there were also those who said, they're not bothering anybody. I don't like the traffic and stuff,
Yeah.
but they're not bothering anybody.
Yeah, the other side is there's a very famous picture of the 2 nuns that are going to the show, and they put up the peace sign at the end. So that's pretty cool. All right, we're going to take our first break right now here in the Coffee and program. More coming your way. Your comments and questions can be called in at 766-1240.
When it comes to emergency service for plumbing and heating, you can't beat C.J. Nemus, 37 Corey Street in Woonsocket. C.J. Nemus offers over 15 years of experience and is licensed in both Rhode Island and Massachusetts. C.J. Nemus offers complete heating system service, plumbing, water heaters, plus drain and sewer cleaning. Remember that senior citizens receive a 10% discount. So give Charlie a call today at C.J. Nemus, 769-4776. They're registered with the Better Business Bureau. They're a master plumber with quality service. It's the only way and the best way. With C.J. Nemus, call today, 769-4776 for C.J. Nemus.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from
Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
It is Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Dave Richards and Melissa Murray. So, Dave, you must have been, feel a little proud. You're a proud graduate of Burrillville High School.
I am.
And they were recognized, the high
Denise.
school, as by Special Olympics for the second year in a row.
Right.
As a national banner school.
That's great.
That's very cool for
It's
them.
very cool.
It honors the school for their commitment to inclusion and for having sports programs that allow students with and without disabilities to participate together. So they had a ceremony on the football field, the old football field,
Nope.
the new football field.
The intermediate football field. There's
Oh,
going to
okay.
be a new football field.
Yes.
This one that's new now is intermediate because it is so cool and so good
Yeah.
and working so well. It is so small. You can't even put a press box there.
Oh,
That's
great.
why we broadcast from Burrillville's football field. We broadcast from the Mandeville Memorial Rock. There is one place in the end zone on the right-hand side that is elevated, and is the most elevated thing that isn't the stands, the grandstands. And that's where he gets his view from, for the football game broadcast. But seriously, Burrillville is not a town given to snap decisions and quick solutions.
Okay.
They think things over. And Eccleston Field gave it up to Hauser Field, and that was an improvement. And what they have now is very nice, but way too small. And now they're saying, okay, let's go, let's build something better. But there's a matter of logistics. They have the land. But the problem is part of the land is on it covers over the leach field for the waste of the high school, but there is sewer lines a mile or so down the road. So, see what we're doing?
All right. Well, but nice that they were recognized by Special Olympics, and that's great that
Yeah.
what
That
goes
is
on out
great.
there at Burrillville High.
It's great that they have the attitude that, every person who wants to play sports can just play sports regardless of their abilities. I think that's great.
All right, a little closer to Woonsocket now. 4 Rhode Island men have been charged in a huge burglary ring.
And one of
in
them's from
Massachusetts,
Woonsocket.
and
I
one's
couldn't
from
believe it.
Woonsocket. So that's like, well, we got Providence, we got Warwick, we got Providence, and we got Woonsocket.
A whole state.
46-year-old Paul Miller of Woonsocket carried out the burglaries that
And the
started
others
in
I thought were like
2018.
brothers. They all had the same last name, no?
We got Jovan Lemon of Providence and Paul Lemon of Warwick.
Uh-huh.
It's just the Paul and the
Well,
Jovan.
there's a
really don't
Verdugo
go
as
back
well.
to- And there's a Verdugo. Yeah. So, but they started back in 2018 and going right up until now, 2024. Now they allegedly stole from more than $4 million worth of diamonds, gems, gold jewelry, and cash from mostly the victims. They hit Indian and South Asian stores.
You're
Those
talking
were the owners. Those are the heritage.
Indian
of the
and
owners.
South Asian
heritage.
heritage, right?
Yes, of the people that own the stores, and it looks like they were concentrating on those stores in Massachusetts.
So, jewelry store? I mean, you're talking about diamonds and gold.
I didn't
and
see stores
Yes.
anywhere. They were the homes, weren't they?
They were
no,
home?
I thought they were. From what I've read on this entire thing, they were hitting stores.
Like jewelers?
Yeah,
Probably smaller ones, right? So
yeah. Well, it doesn't say in our
they
story
must have
right
had
here.
a
Yeah.
plan that they carried out similarly in each place, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
If
40
they were able to get away with it.
43 burglaries and break-ins across 25 towns
Wow.
in Mass. So this is pretty highly organized
Yeah.
that they're doing this.
And they're very careful about their identities, but the law enforcement did prevail.
Yes. And they do say that all 4 men have ties to a violent Providence-based gang.
Right.
And but these are not kids. 30, 28,
46 for
46.
the Woonsocket man.
and 29. So
Yeah. Not
Well,
children.
no. And they got them. They busted them.
Not even
so-
teenagers. Not even
No.
close.
So
Good.
that's a biggie right there. Tough being a security guard at Rhode Island Hospital. Last week, two of them got slashed with a straight edge razor blade. As they were transporting one person from the emergency room, and just reached out and slashed with a razor blade in the emergency room. And they do have the suspect. He's a homeless man in Providence. He's being charged with 2 counts of felony assault. The 2 security guards are just they're suffering non-life-threatening injuries.
Oh, good.
So,
Yeah, I think many months ago we talked about the rise of
Yeah.
attacks on nurses
Nurses.
and hospital staff, and this is kind of right within that.
and it seemed to be happening mostly at Rhode Island Hospital, and not other places. So it's like, So I don't know. So that's what went on there. So this is the bizarre story. I'm following it only because my daughter, it affects my daughter in some way. The federal government is sending $550,000 to more than 100 high schools in Massachusetts because it's to help seniors in high school complete the FAFSA, the federal form to help get financial aid for college. According to the Massachusetts Governor's Office, less than 170,000 students have completed the form this year. That's down 30% from this time a year ago. And I don't know what the $550,000 is for. I was asking Dave, I said, does this story make any sense? And he's like, no.
Right? Why
And,
can't they implement that with
so-
a?
I don't know. It sounds like they're sending the dollars to the high schools. Is it? And I asked, is this in order to pay the guidance counselors to their overtime in order that they can stay after school and help
Possibly.
out the students fill out the FAFSA form?
Or more likely to hire an additional person with that's
just
just,
to do-
their
to
job.
do it?
Yeah,
Okay.
but so 30% down for submissions from last year. And do you think
And I
that
don't
has
know
to
why.
do with the whole all of the aid getting held up and people thinking, do you think that what you're experiencing and your daughter experiencing is contributing to this, or
Or maybe they're just not paying attention, and they think that because of the delays, we're just not going to get anything. So why bother?
right?
I don't have to fill it out, and or there's some people in certain areas. Oh, my parents make too much money, so there's no need. I'm not going to get anything. So it's funny because we did fill it out, and it worked out very well in our case because we did fill it out, and
You were also very conscientiously waiting and watching.
And
you were
checking
on,
and-
you were on
yeah.
response lists, Joe. You told
Yes.
me,
Yeah.
waiting for someone to give you a heads up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple schools were watching for the possibility for you to respond and signal to you when you could.
If only all parents were so motivated, there would be 100%
Now,
completion
don't
rate,
compliment
right?
him now; it'll
No,
go right
I
to his
mean,
head.
It also helped that I had and my son went through this years ago, so I knew.
Yeah, I
this
had
was-
some experience.
I knew
That's
this was
good.
coming.
Yeah.
And I know I had to keep watching for it, and I believed all the financial aid people, all the guidance people in high schools, all the people at the colleges, who all kept saying, you have to fill this form out in order to get anything.
Yeah.
And is it possible we might not get anything? Yeah, it's possible.
But why would you give up the chance?
But
if
why would you
possibly
give up
could?
free money
Yeah.
to help pay for school?
Right.
But even my daughter has run across people that she works with that are graduating from high school, and it's April. It's almost May. Haven't filled it out yet. What are you waiting for?
They just don't know. They don't.
You're missing opportunities.
Yeah.
Yes, and she was trying to help them out. Well, you got to go do it, and some kids just think, well, just my parents will just pay for it,
Uh-oh.
and maybe some will.
In the upcoming economic climate,
Yeah,
that may not be a reality.
Yeah.
and if not, well, you're gonna. All right, let's go to the bank or Sally Mae and the others and get a $50,000
Yeah.
loan
Yeah. You really, if you can
for
avoid that.
1 year.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
get one
really
another year. Another.
incredibly expensive, and if you
Yeah.
can avoid that at all,
Before you know it, you got the same debt as a veterinarian.
That's right. and they
And you're working in a warehouse.
and it's they're smart about it. The moneylender people, because they're big on, well, don't worry about it now, because you don't have to pay back your loan
Until after.
years from now.
That's
That was
right.
Until
definitely
after you graduate.
That was definitely the attitude that I was presented.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you don't know. Now my case, I was 17. I wasn't even 18. I was 17 when I started college. So
Oh, smarty pants, eh?
no, I was just born late in the year before
Oh.
when they still allowed you to do that.
Okay.
Now they don't let you if you're
I have,
born after
I have a
September.
note sent to me regarding our conversation earlier.
Okay.
It's directed at Ms. Murray.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
It says, if an evil continually shelters themselves behind hospitals, schools, houses of worship, and the world refrains from retaliating against evil because of this, evil not only wins, but will also continue to use this method forever. Well, that's why they call it war. Neither side is completely right.
Yeah, and I think, it's not our country, so we don't know what intelligence they were given. So, it's really...
They also end with a quote from Napoleon Bonaparte, that fun-loving Frenchman.
Yeah.
And the
He never
quote is-
killed anybody.
Right. He terrorized more people. Quote, a true soldier will always march toward the sound of the guns, end quote. I don't think the quote makes the comment as well as the prose, but whatever. That is a note received from the audience. Any other comments?
No.
Yeah.
It does.
I'm not saying one side's
Yeah.
right and one side's wrong, because in matters of war, neither side is clean, because you don't prosecute a war by being a good guy.
Well, right.
You don't. Not successfully, anyway. You don't prosecute a war by being a good guy and being conscientious and loving and nurturing. That's not how you prosecute a war when somebody just killed 3,000 of your citizens. That's just not what happens. You get the righteous indignation thing up. You note that other countries in the world are also righteously indignant and back you in your response, and then you go for it. You grab the next wave, put down your surfboard, and worry not that you're slicing through hundreds of innocent jellyfish on your way to the beach.
I think there's certain crimes that the world agrees should not happen, and I think those
Right.
are happening. And I think they do happen in war. But, then
Yeah.
what have we become?
Right? And if it bothers you, you should be able to say something about it. You should not be able to hurt someone who disagrees with you when you've said it. And there you go. Now you got a problem. Now you're going out and breaking the rules. Well, it's civil disobedience. This country was started with civil disobedience, and that's the way it is. And get up. Well, that was over 200 years ago. We would hope that the species has evolved a little more.
Maybe a
And
little.
if it hasn't, then we're disappointed, but we redouble our resolve to do better. And there are some who don't have the same resolve to do better, unfortunately. But we must share the planet with them.
Yeah, and we still have freedom of speech, so we just...
Well,
no.
you don't have complete freedom of
No,
speech,
no,
but
no.
you do have the freedom to speak in a responsible manner and air your grievances.
Now the student government at Emerson College in Boston, they want the resignation of the president of the college.
Of course.
A no confidence vote is planned for today.
Right.
Or last week, actually.
Yes.
From the student government. Well, that carries no weight.
Right.
The group claims that the president failed them when 108 students were arrested during a clash with police for a pro-Palestinian encampment was cleared early.
The students didn't
last
fail them when they
Friday morning.
refused to leave private property in order to do so by sworn police officers.
That's what
right?
that's what the president is saying.
The students didn't fail them by saying, "Okay, arrest me," and now they're upset that they were arrested.
Yes.
Oh, come on now, grow up.
The president says the
Take your
encampment
licks. I mean,
violated
if you
several
go
city
there and you say,
ordinances.
"Okay, arrest me. I'm willing to be arrested to prove my point," that's your right in this country, and you will be arrested.
And they were.
And so, but then for someone else to say, you shouldn't have arrested them when they asked for it, come on, you got to grow up. You've gone
not-
beyond the pale there.
So does anybody remember the encampments in front of the State House just
Yes.
like 2 years ago?
Sure.
And they weren't made to go home, but guess what happened? Christmas time came around, and then all of a sudden they said, "Oh yeah, okay, we've been out here long enough," and everybody went because nobody wanted to be in a tent for Christmas.
Well, the ones that weren't the outside paid agitators. I mean, there cannot be any disagreement that the nucleus of these college protests and university protests are paid agitators that have come in from outside and whipped up the local students into an emotional state.
No, that may or may not be true, but these weren't students. These were like
Not at the State House, no.
elected officials and people who were running for office, and they just stayed. And okay, I said, you know what? I bet by the time the holidays roll around, they're going to be like, oh well, maybe I don't want to be out here, around.
Getting colder.
Oh, it's getting colder. And guess what happened?
Well, also the government was responsible in their. When I say responsible, it's not the way you might think I mean it. This is the better way to say it. The government acted responsibly by offering an alternative. It wasn't, we don't care where you go, but you can't stay here. It was, you could go here, you could go here, you could go here, but you must start now. Mm-hmm. And so that's a responsible act by the government to offer them an alternative.
Yeah, but this wasn't I'm talking about not homeless encampment. I'm talking about
you
no, I'm talking about the camping out as a form of resistance by people who had no physical need to live in a tent or,
well, listen,
financial need to live in a tent. They did it, like I said, it was people who were running for office. It was some elected officials.
do we really need that nice patch of land off to the right of the State House that they have to mow? And
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
yeah, no, they were
originally
right in
there
front. They were front
so
and
that
center
the National Guard
on
and
the-
militia could assemble and practice there on the lawn. Do we really need that to be grass anymore and so inviting? Or do we really need an extension onto the State House or more parking, perhaps?
Yeah, it was right
Or
in, but
a
it was right
parking
in front. Right.
garage.
Yeah.
Multi-story
No,
parking
no,
garage.
no.
No?
No.
It would give them no place to assemble.
Oh no.
Except
That
the
would
cold,
be,
hard
that would be
steps of marble.
horrible. No, that's where they were. They were on the marble, on the
Oh,
on the front.
so,
yeah.
I misunderstood everything that
Yeah,
you said. I thought you
yeah.
were talking about the homeless encampment.
Nope.
All right, we got to take a break here. Give you the weather forecast, which is being brought to you by Macy's.
Mostly sunny skies today with a high near 75 degrees. Tonight, mostly cloudy, overnight low of 49. Tuesday's weather, mostly cloudy and 60. Wednesday, a chance of some showers before 3 p.m., mostly cloudy with a high of 57. Thursday, partially sunny and a high of 68. Friday, partly sunny and 67. Saturday, partly sunny and 62. And on Sunday, mostly cloudy skies with a high of 64.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street under cloudy skies, we have 70 degrees.
Join Macy's now during Earth Month. And hurry up because it's almost over. And donate online or in-store to Trust for Public Land. Give back and learn more at Macy's.com/purpose.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
Hey, it's ON Radio's Cruisin' Bruce Palmer, and I'd love to have you join me every Saturday for the Saturday Block Party. We start at 4 o'clock when I open up the ON Music Vault for you to pick whatever you want to hear or send to somebody special. Yes, the good old radio request days are back. Join me for the Saturday Block Party, Saturdays from 4 until 7 on ON Radio and streaming online at woonsocketradio.com.
It is Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here with Melissa Murray and Dave Richards. And for those of you keeping track, Harvard still has their pro-Palestinian encampment going on. The Harvard Yard is closed indefinitely because of the encampment. And Tufts University has a encampment thing going on as well.
And eventually,
and most-
they
and,
will get sick of it
Well,
and go
Tufts
home.
says you gotta, this thing is gonna end, mostly because commencement is coming.
Do you know another eternal truth that should be thought of here by both sides in the controversy, I believe, is that a favor granted repeatedly becomes a constitutional right to the receiver.
So when you
So
allow
if
it
you
for a couple of
ignore
days-
them, if you put up porta potties for them, if you,
has that happened?
oh gosh, they must
sure
be
it
doing it.
has.
They must be
School?
doing it.
No.
Yes.
They'll just walk back to their dorm, take a shower, and do whatever.
Oh no. The few that are students can walk back to their dorm and take a shower. The rest of them, that's
Well,
the
then-
ones you got to worry about.
You can oust the outside folks. You can't oust
You-
the students, and then
course.
especially the students will get.
And you can
Are
arrest
they going
the
to
students
class
when
and then
they're
going
told.
back to sit at the tent
And you can arrest the students because they violated student rules, which they signed a piece of paper to keep when they came.
You can, but
Hey,
it's not gonna.
you got their money. You don't have to give them a degree. You can throw them out.
That's
because
true.
they're- because they-
You have the money, right?
Right.
Yeah.
because you have now an incorrigible that you have repeatedly reminded there are going to be consequences for this. Don't tell me there's not going to be consequences for it. We're using some restraint, but there's going to be consequences. You have a chance to change your mind and obey the rules you agreed to keep, and if you don't, well, there's going to be consequences, and then don't come whining to us there's consequences afterwards.
Imagine taking out all that money and all those loans and not actually getting
Not actually getting your degree.
a degree.
Because you wanted to sit with your rabble-rousing friends.
I mean, I've been involved in a protest or two, but maybe more. But I also went to work and did my job and did whatever I needed to do. So,
All right.
'cause I didn't have the luxury of
And I'm sure the
going to a.
I'm sure the
yeah.
paid agitators didn't think much of you for being.
I
a
didn't know any
part-time-
paid agitators.
Being a part-time person.
So like Dave said, Brown University, they've got their issues too,
Of
and
course.
they've given their encampment
Till 5 o'clock today.
tonight.
That's
to,
it.
to get out, and they've sent them a letter, just like Dave said. Demonstrators have broken the university's code of student conduct for violations that include disruption of community and university activities.
We don't want to hear any whining.
And-
Don't get
right.
caught up in this.
Yeah, and lots of folks will pack up and go, and then some won't.
The university
Right.
says students who
The
don't
students
leave.
probably wouldn't, but the paid agitators who are there to get arrested, they won't.
Students who don't leave by the deadline will be subject to a review process and the possibility of additional consequences. I think they're talking about
Exactly.
expulsion, but they
Yeah.
Sure.
haven't come out and said it yet.
Right.
So
Well, Brown has a system where you have a hearing after that.
you do.
Not every college has to have that.
No,
You
they
know
don't.
that if you are accused of breaking rules, but Brown does. Okay, you're accused. Now here is your consequences. And by the way, going forward, we'll have a review to see if there's any additional consequences.
Well, all right then.
But they can only control their students.
Yes.
But their students have signed a legal document, so they know who the students are. And if your name's not on the list, then you are trespassing.
It's
I
either
agree.
Harvard or Tufts, or one of them is they're sending school officials around and snapping pictures of people try to find out
Well,
who's a
that's-
student and who isn't.
Well, that's generally because they're trying to stay away from police officers.
Yeah.
Sworn police officers will be used if necessary, but they're trying, in an abundance of caution, to use restraint and not bring the police officers onto the campus using only their private security and their faculty. I get that. and that is a show of restraint.
That's going on at Harvard, by the way.
Right.
The taking of the photos. Do you see they put up a pro-Palestinian flag at Harvard? They had to take down the U.S. flag, put that up, but
Yeah.
the school officials quickly reversed that thing. So anyway, away from the college campuses, fun in East Providence over the weekend. They've
really?
arrested a stolen vehicle suspect. Started the fun in Seekonk. Went
Actually,
to
he
Rumford.
started it in North Providence when he stole the car.
Is that where he stole it from?
Yeah, and then
Oh,
he went to
okay.
Seekonk, and that's where the law enforcement got wind of
Picked up.
him.
All right.
And then he tried to get away from. And how many towns did he go through?
Well, Seekonk and then into Rumford, which is East Providence.
Okay, so it's
Where he abandons the car, and then he's found walking down the street, and
that's not a very long chase.
no,
it's not.
Seekonk
They
to
abut
Rumford,
each other.
I know it does, but they did find the man, matching the description, running through a nearby neighborhood. That's a real
Yeah.
giveaway if you're
Yeah.
running through the neighborhood. So they took him into custody. They haven't listed the name yet or the charges. Police say the vehicle was reported stolen in North Providence. So that happened. That happened over the weekend, and then they had a standoff in Johnston as well.
Yeah.
Started with a domestic dispute. They show up.
That
and-
didn't go well. There was a no contact order. This
Yeah.
person goes over and violates the non contact order.
Yep.
The victim who had the order got out and went
Yeah.
and got police. Police came
stayed.
and he says, "Oh, I'm not coming out. You're
Yeah.
gonna have to come and get me."
So they did.
After 4 hours, after 4 hours,
Well,
they
yeah.
talked him into leaving.
exited
and
the home.
coming out. Yeah. There was no gunplay.
Well, that part's good.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So wow. Let's see. So those are the big things that's going on. Karen Reed trial starts today. With opening statements. We'll see where that goes. Should be.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what to believe.
Well, you got to wait
We'll have to see.
You have to
Have
wait to
let-
hear what the
let,
evidence is.
You'd be
Right.
perfect for the jury then if you don't know what to believe.
Well,
I
yeah.
don't.
The defense claims they have evidence that shows that he was not hit by a vehicle. Mm-hmm. They say he was beaten to death at the home by another cop. Who's the other cop? I don't know if they have a name there.
Right.
So I don't know. So this trial is supposed to last 6 weeks. This is
It's a big one.
This is going to take a while to get through all the.
Well,
the facts
they
of the
have all that
prosecutor.
evidence.
Yeah, there's a lot to go through. So I'm sure the prosecutor has evidence that he was hit by a car.
Yeah.
So
Right.
let's see who's
It's all how you interpret the data, right?
who's telling the truth and who isn't.
So, on a positive note,
Yes.
there's a new restaurant, not a restaurant, it's a bar that opened up downtown. Their grand opening was on Saturday, and I went there. It's called Little Lena's. And
Would you spell that? Little who?
Lena,
Lena?
Lena.
L-E-N-A, yeah.
It was named after there's two sisters named after their mom, and it is an 80s, 90s themed bar, and I was so there for it.
No, it's on North Main Street.
North Main Street.
So what's it near?
It's right across from Butcher Brothers.
Oh, so near Lodge.
It's near Lobs, so I think
Okay.
that'll be
Yeah.
very helpful, right? So
Well,
they
that's
have
convenient,
like So they're open a little later. They serve food.
Can Lops sell them beer? It's in the same building. It doesn't
Nope,
get
nope.
shipped. No, can't do it. Huh?
Nope.
Oh,
The
well.
3-tiered system prevents them from
Yeah.
taking a keg down
30 feet.
30 feet and bringing it in. Yep. They have to bring it down to wherever they bring it to in Providence, and then they have to put it on the truck, and then the truck
bring
has
it
to come
back.
all the way up. Yep. Yep.
It has to be delivered by a union operative.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
And Ciro's, same thing. Yep. So, yeah.
And why is that?
because that is the 3-tiered system, and that is what is the best and safest way to
Well,
make sure that
It's an antiquated law, Joe.
it is.
goes back
I
to-
know I've been working against
they-
that with the breweries and
they
stuff.
didn't want there to be. I mean, at one time in the late 1800s, breweries owned all the bars. It got to
Right.
be a thing. Schlitz started it, and then everybody started doing it because it worked out. And they call it the tide system. But then when Prohibition came and went, when it went, Rhode Island, like most every other place, had to take a look at their laws and make sure that abuses didn't
Weren't taking place.
Right, weren't taking place. So what they did is they set this up so that you couldn't, if you brewed beer, you couldn't own the bar,
Yeah.
and you couldn't. There had to be restrictions. There had to be middle people between the brewery.
But Lena's doesn't own Lops, so why can't they just buy directly from them?
There's no middle people.
So what?
Yeah. Right.
So what?
Right.
And because Lops, because see, when you own a small brewery, you don't have the same economies of scale, so you can't make millions of barrels
Right.
and make it so cheaply that you can afford to pay the middle person at
Right.
union scale to deliver it.
You're actually limited in the
where it's
amount
going.
you can produce, and
Right.
after you produce a certain amount, you must use a distributor. So I put in a lot of bills to help like the craft breweries because they're a thing. And let's face it, people who are going into Lops, Ravenous, Bravo, over in Burrville, those aren't the same folks that are going into your local liquor store and picking up a, a 10,
Bud Light.
yeah, right, exactly. And the argument is from the bigger guys is like, oh, well, these little breweries take away, it's death by 1,000 cuts.
Well,
and
they're not going to sit around and just let everything be nibbled
But-
away at them. That's the way of business. They're going to complain.
well, I put in a brewery bill every year since I've been in the General Assembly, and I think these smaller businesses are important. But I wanted to show Dave a picture of the.
Is this something that we can get on TV?
Little Lena's. Well, what I wanted to bring to they have the drink menu,
Yeah.
and they're from Canada. Their mother was from Canada, and she actually had a place down on River Street, and they have a shooter called Christmas at Meme's. It's so cute.
What's in it?
What's a shooter? What
Orange
could you put in it?
cognac
Liqueur,
and
right?
chocolate liqueur.
Okay.
So, right. But then they also have, sangria and wine and beer. And their menu, I put their menu up on my Facebook page, and people were like kind of going a little nuts about it because they were like, why would you go there to eat? Well, it's not, it's a bar, right?
Yeah.
But they have a victualling, so they have to have food. So they have the whole 80s, 90s thing going on with like neon and everything like that.
I
And their-
noticed the color on those pictures.
the menu is you can get school pizza, tater tots, French fries, dino nuggets, things like that, right? So it's just like fun stuff, but it's
Yeah,
meant to be
yeah.
fun. It's meant to be funny. So
Yeah.
people were like, I wouldn't go in there and order the food. Well, you don't,
Well, you
go
don't have
in there,
to.
You don't have to, right?
Well, that's Facebook.
So I just wanted to show.
Use Facebook at your own
And they
peril.
have a landline. You can't see it really. But they have a landline.
Wow. I
And,
can see
and
the
so,
cord.
yeah.
You mean there's a wall on the?
There's a
phone
wall.
on the wall.
There's a phone on the
that's
wall.
connected to the.
Well,
telephone
no, there's
system.
not. There's not really connected to anything.
Oh, it's not really connected. Okay.
Oh, it's a joke.
So yes, right. 'Cause
So it's like a decoration.
yeah, right.
And
There's
you
all like
pick it up,
80s
and
and
there's a
90s
wire
themed
to the
stuff.
thing that's
right,
hanging on the wall, and you've
Doesn't
got
go
the
anywhere.
big thing up against you. You got the
right.
yeah.
So
I saw the
eventually,
curly wire.
yeah,
connected,
yeah,
yeah.
it was actually connected to the wall. But then, they have a little backdrop where you can take selfies, and it has like the lasers that you used to have in the '80s and back your school picture.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So the big joke in my house was, my mom would never let us have the laser. She wanted like the blue Olin Mills, because it was classic and it would endure. And there's 3 of us, and I was never allowed. I'd be like, I want the lasers, and my littlest brother was like, I want the lasers. And then, 15, 20 years later, we were going through photos in a drawer, and we found a picture of my other brother, and he had the lasers, and we were both like, what? You let Pete get the lasers? So I took my own laser picture there. And now I have one.
Mom liked him best.
Yeah.
All right. More coffee ads coming up. Stick around.
Our family caring for your family. The Holiday Retirement Home is a skilled nursing and rehabilitation facility with a home-like atmosphere where laughter is the best medicine. The Holiday keeps their patients and residents involved in varied activities and events so they have the opportunity to live life to the fullest. The Holiday Retirement Home has their own in-house physical, occupational, and speech therapy staff with more than 300 years of combined experience. Stop in for a tour. The Holiday is right off Route 99 on Sales Hill Road in Manville, and for more information you can visit their website at holidayretirement.com.
Hello, my name is Paul LaValle, and I'm from the Woonsocket Council Knights of Columbus. We are sponsoring a scholarship fund raffle tickets that'll benefit the Woonsocket Catholic School Regional School System. There are only 100 tickets being sold. They are $50 each. The first prize is $1,200. The second prize is $500. The third prize is $300. You can contact any Knight of Columbus or myself at 401-651-5533 to purchase tickets. Thank you.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
It is Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Murray and Dave Richards. So this is what you don't want to have happen to you. A man down in Pennsylvania, he's pretty happy. He got a $900 federal tax refund.
Whoa.
So not bad.
That's pretty hefty.
Okay.
However, he got a $34 billion state bill
What?
to pay.
How?
They said it's unpaid taxes. So, Mr.
34
Barry
billion.
Tangert received the state bill last weekend from the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue. The bill came after his tax preparer, who I think he's looking for a new one, had filed an amendment earlier this year to correct an error on his 2022 return.
They're having a sale on zeros, right?
Tangert says he never made enough money to owe $34 billion. This is impossible. He says he spoke with a Department of Revenue representative who told him, quote, "You had a good year in 2022. So no word on
that
how,
really helped.
Yeah, no word on how he's going to
Wow.
get this
What you need
fixed.
is a dry sense of humor from somebody like that,
yes,
don't
yes.
you?
Don't-
Oh,
I don't need you being funny right now.
Right.
I need you being helpful.
No sale, no
Yeah.
tip.
So yeah, you got a $900 federal tax return, but you got a $34 billion tax bill from the state.
Have fun spending that $900.
Yeah, it knocks
Yeah.
that $34 billion down by just
You
a
better
little.
invest it.
So yeah, he's got a little bit to worry about there. Yeah. Go back to your tax preparer. What's this? So what
Yeah.
is going
What-
on?
what did you do
What
exactly?
did you do? Can't believe this. We mentioned this earlier today. Good story out of Wisconsin. A Wisconsin 8th grader's on his school bus when he notices the driver behind the bus faints.
Mm-hmm.
So he runs up and gets the guy's foot off the gas pedal. He's able to push down the brake. He's able to
Wow.
steer it so he doesn't crash until the bus comes to a stop.
Wow.
And then he calls 911. And they come in, and then he assured all the kids, the younger kids on the bus, "Hey, okay, everything's
Nothing
gonna
to
be all
see
right.
here. Go
Nothing,
home."
nothing to worry about. We're
Yeah.
not gonna. We didn't crash. No one's gonna crash into us. Police, fire, rescue, they're all gonna come, and we'll be all set. We'll all be taken care of."
And
And
how
you get
old
to
was
ride
this
in a
kid?
Fire truck.
He's in the 8th grade, so
Okay.
13, 14.
Something like that.
No,
It doesn't say.
older than
He
that.
must have known how to put the bus in
In
park.
park, right.
Right.
After you hit after you come to a stop, then put it in park so it doesn't move. But the bus was starting to veer, they said, into oncoming traffic.
Oh my gosh.
So the other cars are probably swerving around it as, "Hey, what's this guy doing?" And no word on the bus driver.
Mm-hmm.
Medical thing that might have happened. Why he passed out? He just said he lost consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But good for this kid
Yeah.
who jumped
Little
right
hero.
up and took care of everything and was able to stop the bus from crashing into other cars or
All I can think of is that
Poles
movie
or
with Sandra
trees.
Bullock.
speed.
Speed.
Got to keep it above 50 miles an hour, right?
It really comes down to someone's personal makeup. The age is not so important when it comes to those emergency things. If you know what to do and you feel driven to do it, your age is not going to stop you from doing it.
True, but
It's going to make everyone else amazed.
It's amazed because you haven't had
Right.
any driving lessons.
Right, but
More
yeah,
than likely.
exactly. So, but I can picture that happening.
Well, there's a new survey out, and it's ranked the best states to go enjoy legalized marijuana. California's right on top.
Good.
L.A., San
They deserve
Francisco, those are the top two
They deserve
cities.
the rep, wouldn't you say?
Nevada's in there. They're saying
Nevada.
Vegas. And could you smell the
Okay.
marijuana on the
Oh,
streets, Dave?
everywhere.
I'm hearing that from other people. That
Turn
done the
your
marijuana.
stomach.
It's just you can't get
You're
away
walking
from it.
along the sidewalk, and it's just like, just try to breathe.
And any time of the day or night doesn't
Any
matter.
time of the day or night. Actually, more during the day, I noticed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But the casinos must be happy with this.
No.
But if you get people that are under
No.
the
Smoking
influence coming in to
because-
gamble,
You can't smoke
Yeah.
a marijuana in the casinos, right?
no, not in
No.
the casinos. But if
No.
you're outside,
No.
But you can smoke
inhaling it-
cigarettes in there.
No, see, the casinos, that's private property. And the casinos will have signs, several of them I saw, where they say it right from the beginning. no smoking of legalized marijuana or recreational, whatever the term they used, marijuana is allowed in this facility. And so they just put that right out there when you walk in from the street. Then when you're walking in, generally speaking, is very few. You have to go to places where smoking is overtly allowed. You can't just light up anywhere. And so when you put the two of them together, the Strat was one. It used to be the Stratosphere. You know, they got a new one called the Strat. It's the same place. They had to change the name.
Right.
And so, but the Strat is, you walk in and it's like, man, you got joints on you, hide them. We don't want any part of that stuff here. You're not going to do it here, blah, blah. And the other new ones too, like the Fontainebleau, because it takes away from their earnings. It drives away people who don't want to smell it.
Yeah.
And that's the same argument for the people who want a smoke-free casino, even right here in Rhode Island.
That's right.
Where they separate the smoking area from the non-smoking area.
You can't really do that indoors.
They do that. They do that there too.
But don't you think the casinos will be happy if Dave Richards is walking down the street and you're inhaling the marijuana, so you're getting the effects of the secondhand marijuana smoke? Now we want you coming into the casinos. Now you're a little incapacitated, but now you start gambling, and you're not of
Secondhand marijuana.
You get
Secondhand marijuana smoke doesn't work that much
Yeah.
or that fast.
Okay.
No.
You'd have to be like
Generally
it's
speaking-
stuck in a room or something
Yeah.
to get like a contact high like that.
Secondhand marijuana smoke makes you want to go someplace else. And that is, unless you grew up smoking this stuff, which if you grew up smoking this stuff, you're doing it illegally. But generally speaking, I mean, I told this story once before, Joe. Denise and I, when we were very young, we used to go around to different concerts and stuff like that.
Yep.
The last concert that Denise and I went to was Sha Na Na in the late 70s, 79 or maybe 80. I think it was 79, at the Leroy Theater in Pawtucket. That was the last time we went and paid money to go see a group we wanted to go see perform on a stage. And that's because we got the cheap seats because we're just kids. We're not buying way down front to see Sha Na Na, you know. So we got the cheap seats. It was just a thing to do, go out, you know. And so we did that. But, man, we were sick coming out of there. It was nothing but marijuana smoke, and it was thick.
That's because you were in the cheap seats and the smoke
Right,
rose.
right, fine. But the fact is that after you did that, now the smell of it bothers you.
Yeah.
Just like if you got drunk on highballs. Just the smell of highballs is going to put you off.
Yeah.
Seriously. You know, when I say got drunk, I mean you got sick drunk on a particular beverage. You wouldn't want. It just wouldn't. So that's where we are with marijuana smoke. I don't yuck anybody else's yum. Go have it if you want, but I don't want to be around it. That's my choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the same thing with it. I feel the same way about. I don't mind the smell of marijuana. It smells like, you know,
It smells like
whatever.
marijuana. It's got a
Right.
very distinct smell.
But I can't stand cigarette smoke. And when I was out somewhere, you know, like people are vaping and they vape like flavors. I distinctly remember I was sitting on a stool. Someone was next to me. They took a big, you know, they were smoking like strawberry something. Like it was just absolutely disgusting.
Right.
And so they turned and blew away from them and blew like a giant cloud of like strawberry vanilla grossness like right in my face, and I was absolutely disgusted, and I was like, how are they able to do that indoors, but like they can't. It was just gross, and it makes that big vapor cloud, right? So it was just like whoosh, they just
Yeah, but I think most everybody
It's
can
gross.
understand if you have a bad experience with a particular smell, it won't be pleasant to you later.
right.
And so there you go. And we had a bad experience, and we just don't care much for it. So when
I
we
just
smelled
don't
it,
like
when
synthetic
we smelled it in
strawberries.
Vegas, we just kept on walking.
All right, something for you, a little PSA for you, Melissa, 'cause you're the real animal lover here.
Yes.
If you're going to ship something back to Amazon,
Don't put your cat in the box.
please check the box before you seal it up.
Yeah.
This happened in California.
Yeah.
Cat
Oh,
hidden
the
in Amazon
cat.
return package has been reunited with her owner. The cat disappeared from their home in Utah earlier this week. Galena, that's the cat, jumped in one of the packages and was shipped back to the return center in L.A., roughly 700 miles away from her home.
6 days.
Amazon warehouse workers discovered the cat and were able to locate Galina's owner through her microchip. Well, that's good, I guess. The vet says Galina had gone 6 days without food or water and was completely unharmed.
Well, maybe.
Well, yeah.
I'm sure it was.
But then
hungry.
again, it didn't take much.
Thirsty.
Didn't
Dehydrated,
take
yeah.
much calories to sit in the box for 6 days either.
All
So
right.
that must have helped.
At least she didn't suffocate.
She wasn't running around using up
Because
energy.
you got to seal the box up.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you can get in through some. You can get in through some. Okay, but the point is,
Don't breathe
when
much.
when you fold over those boxes and you put the tape over, check the box first.
Right.
Yeah.
Make sure a little
Oh, yeah.
animal hasn't crawled inside.
And everyone that has a cat knows that if you bring any box of any kind
The cat
into
goes
the
in
house,
the
the
box.
cat goes into the box.
Right.
That's the rule.
If I sits, I fit. If I fits, I sits. That's the thing,
There you go.
right? Shoebox or whatever.
All right, that'll do it for the show for today. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks for the notes that were called in. And Melissa Murray, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me. Have a great week, everyone.
All right, and Dave, thanks for stopping on by.
I'm on my way over to the Pothia School to do some reading. It's reading week in the schools this week there, Joe.
Enjoy the kids. All right, this is Joe Callahan. Have a great day. Stay tuned for Leslie Page with At the Library, and then Food First with Karen Zangari next on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.